Hey there. Today I wanted to talk about some beginner cameras, and I'm going to specifically focus on one particular make and model. So, there are three generally recommended beginner film cameras. One is the Pentax K1000, the second one is the Canon AE1 or the AE1 program, and then the third one is the Olympus OM series. So today I'm going to talk only about the Pentax K1000. Okay, this camera was introduced somewhere, I believe, in the 1970s, and they made this camera because it was so popular. They made it for about 20 years. Okay, and they made 3 million of these. Okay, so what that tells you is that the parts are easily available for this camera. Okay, now no matter how good of a condition you find the camera in, unless it's been professionally serviced, there is a good chance that you might break the spring in there or something, may go wrong. And so the best thing to do, if you inherit one, you find one online, whatever, bring it in to get it professionally serviced. Okay, professionally serviced means they completely take it apart and clean it, lubricate all the internal components, and adjust them back to factory specifications. Okay, that is going to ensure that your camera is going to last you at least another generation. Okay, now let's dive into what the camera is. Okay, so it's a very simple minimalistic camera. Okay, that's one of the reasons why it's very popular. Even to this date, film photography schools across the world, okay, this is probably the number one camera on their list of recommended cameras. Okay, so it's a purely mechanical camera. Now, there is a light meter in the camera. Okay, and you need the batteries for the light meter, but you don't need the batteries to operate the camera. And we'll talk about light meter and exposure, okay, in another video. For now, just understand that the light meter in there tells you exactly what exposure to use on the camera so that you get proper images. Okay, so essentially on this camera, you open the film back, which is you use this over here to pull it out, and that will pop open the back. Okay, and this is where you would load the film. One question I get asked a lot by newbies is, can my camera take color film, or can my camera take black and white film? It really doesn't matter. The camera is designed to take whatever film you put in it. In other words, the cameras are not made just to be black and white cameras or just to be color cameras. Okay, so this one over here, you use a 35 millimeter film. Okay, and 35 millimeter refers to the width of the film. Okay, that's 35 millimeters over here. Okay, now you may have heard of 120 film. It's called medium format film. It's not 120 millimeters. Okay, online you'll see all over the place people sometimes saying 120 millimeter. There's no such thing as 120 millimeter film. It's 120 is a format. We'll talk about it another time. Okay, back to this. This is a 35 millimeter film. Okay, there is this area which sticks out. Okay, and in all 35 millimeter cameras, if you look in the bottom, okay, there is a notch, there is an opening. Let me see if I can move this light here. Okay, you see, it's kind of hard to see because it's in black, but that tells you which side the film is supposed to go in. Okay, so you take this film, you can call this the film leader. Okay, this cutout over here, film lip. Okay, whatever you want to call it, and you pop it into place, making sure that notch goes in there. Okay, and then you need to lock this down. Okay, so that this doesn't pop out. Okay, and then You move this across over here, and there are slits in here, okay, where you slide this in, okay, and once it's in there, okay, in the slit, you advance the film lever, okay, and you see how it caught on there. Now, the sprocket holes over here are for a purpose. The sprockets over here, okay, these little teeth, you see them down there? See them down there? Okay, that's where these sprocket holes need to catch on to. Now, if it's already gone over one turn, you've done good, okay? This means that at this point, you can close the film chamber, okay, and you can advance the film, okay? Now, I get many times people, especially newbies, come in to get a roll developed. We develop the roll and find out the entire roll is blank, okay? What happened? Well, one of two things. Either they thought they had shot that roll, okay, and brought me a roll that was never exposed, or more likely, they put the roll in the way I showed you, or at least they thought they did the way I showed you, but the film over here, the leader, came off this spool. In other words, they were shooting blanks. They kept shooting, and it was a 36 exposure roll. They went past 36, and that's when they kind of realized something had gone wrong. Anyway, we end up rewinding the film, bringing it to me. We develop it. Turns out it's a blank because the film had really never, caught on to the spool over here. So here's a little tip. How do you make sure that the film has caught on there? Okay. What you want to do is you want to watch this side over here. Okay. This knob over here, which is your rewinder knob, you need to watch that. So every time you advance film, if your film has been loaded correctly, see how it moves that? Okay. That is your indication that you got the film loaded in there correctly. Okay. Now, the roll I have in here, it's a demo roll. Okay. So normally you do not want to do what I'm about to do. But I'm showing this to you because, again, happens often with newbies. Okay. I got a film roll that they bring in to develop, and for whatever reason, in the middle of the shooting, okay, they decide that they're going to do this, which is open this, okay, and then go, oops, and they close it, okay. Now, what just happened? Okay, you exposed the negative to an insane amount of light, okay. In other words, whatever shots you'd already taken, okay, they're ruined, okay. You're not going to get those shots back, okay. I've had people ask me, yeah, but Pino, I closed it really fast, instantly. The moment I saw, I closed it. I go, okay, let me ask you this. Are you able to shut this, close it, faster than the speed of light? No. Okay. So you can beat the speed of light, meaning that the moment you open it, light gets in there and it's going to ruin whatever images you have on there. Okay. So wait before you put the film in, see if it's a 24 exposure, 36 exposure. Once you run out to the end, it won't advance anymore. Okay. It won't let you shoot any more shots. Okay. That's your indication that you've used up the film. Then you need to flip over the camera and press this little button. Different cameras may have it in different places, but majority of them will have it around here, or some may have a little lever over here. Okay. What that allows you to do is that allows you to move the film in the opposite direction, meaning unspool it. Okay. And then you can open it, okay, and lift this up again and get the cartridge out. Okay. That's as simple as it is. Now, back to this particular camera, what you have to do is look at the light meter in there and you set the speed. I wouldn't recommend, if you're a newbie, I wouldn't recommend using a speed that's lower than 125. Okay. What 125 over there is telling you is It's 1 by 1/25th of a second. So a minute has 60 seconds, right? We are on the same page on that. Now, if you took that 1 second and you made 125 parts of it, okay, that's what this number is. When it says 125, it's saying it's 1 by 1/25th of a second, which is probably as fast as you blink, okay? If you go to 60th, that's 1/60th of a second, okay? Now, which one is faster? 1/60th or 1/25th of a second, okay? 1/25th of a second, okay? That's twice as faster as a 1/60th of a second, okay? If you go down to 1/30th of a second, okay, there you've decreased the speed, okay? I don't recommend going below 1/25th of a second for newbies because that is going to help you avoid shake. Your pictures are not going to be blurry, okay? Versus if you try 1/60th or something slower, they may be blurry pictures, okay? Now, when you've said that, you move the aperture, okay, which is this dial over here, and you look inside over here at the light meter, and on the right side, there's a needle. As long as the needle is in the center, it's not above, which is overexposed, it's not below, which is underexposed, it's dead center, it means that your exposure is a proper exposure, okay, and you can take the shot, okay? Now, there's going to be a whole other video talking about proper exposure and the exposure triangle, okay? This video is already long, it's almost 12 minutes, so I'm going to end it here soon. But that is as simple as it gets, okay? For whatever reason, if you want to take the lens off, assuming you bought something and it came with 3 lenses, then you hold down this little knob over here, okay? And you twist the lens and it comes off. If you have only one lens, I suggest not messing with this, okay? In there is the mirror, okay? And that mirror flips up and then it lets the image form, because behind the mirror over there is the shutter, and the shutter opens and closes as fast as 1/25th of a second, and it makes an image impression on the film, which then has to be developed, right? And scanned, printed, whatever you decide to do. Now, to put this back, this is the important thing. See this red dot here? And see the red dot over here? There you go, okay? That's your cue that you're going to line both of those dots up, you're going to twist it firmly, and you should hear it click into place. If it didn't click into place, okay, what's going to happen is you try taking your next shot and the lens falls off, okay? Expensive repair or replace the lens, okay? That's really all there is to this camera. Yes, it's got a flash, hot shoe flash slot in here where you can put a flash and take, flash pictures if that's your thing. Flash pictures I personally don't like because they're too harsh, okay? They look too artificial, okay? But sometimes it adds a cool effect, so depends what you're doing, how you're shooting it, okay? Now, the most important thing, after you load film in here, okay, you can barely see it, but there's a small number over here, okay? That is the ISO. ISO stands for International Standards Organization. That is the organization that determines the sensitivity of the film and gives it a number, okay? So for example, this film over here has a number of 400, which is probably the most common film you'll see out there, okay? Some films have 200. You say that the ISO of my film is 400. You say the ISO of my film is 200. You say the ISO of my film is 100, okay? Now, there's also 800 ISO film. Black and white films also come in 3200 ISO. What it means is this. The lower the number, the brighter the light it needs. The higher the number, the more sensitive it is to light, okay? So, in this lit environment, 400 would be okay, okay? What I really need to be shooting with if I'm going to take pictures in here with this amount of light is an 800 ISO film. Okay, I carry over 30 varieties of film. I've got several 800 ISO films. I have quite a few 400 ISO films. Okay, and of course the 100, and going the other direction, even a 50 ISO film. So you may say, oh, when would you shoot a 50 ISO film? Well, down here, we are in deep South Texas. In the middle of summer, we have bright sunlight. Okay, 50 ISO, 100 ISO. If you're shooting in the middle of the day outdoors, that's what you want to shoot. Okay, right now for this time of the year, your ideal film is 400 ISO. It's a safe film to shoot with. Okay, if you're going to be taking pictures in the evening, nicely lit patio. Okay, 800 ISO film. Okay, I've got the Lomography 800, or the most versatile film, which also costs a lot more, the Portra 800. Can shoot it anytime, any day, whether it's bright, sunny, less light. That film works great. Okay, so again, this is a nutshell version of what this camera can do. By the way, this over here is where the battery goes in. Okay, so it takes two LR44 cells. Okay, I carry those batteries also. I carry batteries for practically all cameras that are out there. Okay, and let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what are the videos you'd like to see. Okay, try to keep them short, but there's so much information to cover, so bear with me. Okay, thanks.